We're back now with the chairman of the Republican National Committee, Reince Priebus. Welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Peggy Noonan says about the Republican Party that it's shattering. Matt Schlapp, the chairman of the American Conservative Union, says that the conservative movement is hopelessly fractured. What's your view on the health of the Republican Party?
Well, look, I mean, if you look across this country, we're having record turnout. We've got 70% more people coming out in this Republican primary, so we're up 70%. The Democrats are actually down 30%. So there's no question that on the enthusiasm gap, we're crushing the Democrats. We're beating them on money. We're beating them on mechanics. And, you know, I like our chances. We're prepared to beat Hillary Clinton.
We've got a situation, though, where you've got the Speaker of the House is calling out the frontrunner on questions of bigotry. The frontrunner is attacking Nikki Haley, the governor of South Carolina, who gave the Republican response. That's pretty tough stuff.
Well, it is tough stuff, and at times I've spoken out as well. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with drama and intrigue, and we've got plenty of that. There's no question about that. The key, though, is can you get to a nominee, come together, and then take it to the Democrats? I think that we'll get there. I'm confident that we will. And look, we've got more Republicans elected today since 1900, but we do need to learn how to win a big cultural vote in this country, and that's what I'm hopeful of.
That coming together, that's the traditional thing that happens. But in these last couple of weeks, you've got Senator Ben Sasse saying, nope, he won't vote for Donald Trump. You got other people saying, let's start a third party. There's also talk of a kind of monkeying around to get a contested convention. That's different. That means the coalescing isn't going to happen.
Well, what it means is that we're in the beginning of March. We've got over 1,600 delegates to go. It means that people are concerned, at least in their own interests, as far as who the nominee is going to be, and they're making public statements likely to change the course of what they see as a direction that they don't like. But ultimately, there's a long way to go. We are going to come together, and we're going to beat Hillary Clinton, who's now dodging immunity agreements with the DOJ.
What do you make of this talk about the convention? Let's start with Mitt Romney. He basically said, everybody who's not Donald Trump should have a strategy where Marco Rubio wins in Florida, Kasich wins in Ohio, denies him the number of delegates he would need to get the nomination. What do you think of such a planned strategy?
Well, I don't really think anything of it. I mean, my role is to basically be 100% behind whoever gets 1,237 delegates. I'm not going to do anything to help someone get 1,237 delegates, nor am I going to do anything to prevent someone from getting 1,237 delegates. But keep in mind what's going on here. We have a political party, two political parties. These folks are running to join our political party as our nominee. So yes, they pledge to support the eventual nominee if they want to take part in the process, and eventually we'll get to that point. They will join, one person will join our party, and we will be 100% behind that person.
What do you, for Republicans out there who are watching, when they hear about contested convention, there are rules to fight this out in Cleveland. In other words, it's not a dirty word, right?
No.
Okay, so there is a process with rules. Contested convention could be possible. So that's okay.
It's not impossible. Right. I still think it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. Now, I was general counsel, John, for 2 years before being chairman for 6. I know the rules inside and out. I'll be prepared for anything. But I still think it's very early to have this conversation. I think that in a month, if we're sitting in a situation where candidates are tied, then I think in a month you start looking at those possibilities. But right now, we've got a long way to go.
Do you think Donald Trump's success is because he's Donald Trump or because he's a Republican?
I would think probably a little bit of both, but again, I still think it's early. I don't know who's going to be successful and who's not going to be successful. What I do know is that we have a great opportunity here to win in November, an opportunity to save our country, and we're running against a person who's dodging the IRS and has to answer for a lot of things that people find to be pretty troubling.
You have worked hard to try to expand the Republican Party in different communities where Republicans have had trouble before, in the Hispanic community and the African American community. How has Donald Trump and the way this campaign has played out so far helped or hurt those efforts?
You know, obviously the proof is going to be in the pudding, and there's a long way to go. We have at the National Party put more people on the ground in different communities than ever before in the history of our party. We've committed millions upon millions of dollars. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in our infrastructure mechanics. We're far better than we were in 2012. But you know, listen, I do think that tone and the rhetoric has to improve. I do think that you have to keep a PG rating during debates. And I think that the next debate needs to be improved in that regard. And so I'm hopeful that our candidates will heed that suggestion.
If the process goes forward, do you expect the Republican Party to keep gaining more people as it goes forward?
I think we are. I mean, if you look at the numbers that we're putting up in all of these states, it's astronomical. If I was a Democrat, I'd be very concerned over the lack of enthusiasm over a sluggish process that isn't going to end anytime soon, even though Hillary Clinton is now seemingly winning these contests. She obviously didn't have a good night last night, and it doesn't seem to be ending for her. I think Bernie Sanders is going to do well out in the West Coast. Those contests aren't coming for a while, so they're in for a long process, whether they like it or not.
All right, Reince Priebus, thanks for being with us.
You bet, John.